The DA-ANC battle over the Employment Equity Amendment Act heats up. Why did Judge Mbenenge delete so many text messages from his phone? Israel's plan for conquest and total occupation of Gaza. And today, we say goodbye to Skype. Hello, I'm Jane Dutton.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent.
The DA believes the Employment Equity Amendment Act will worsen unemployment instead of achieving its intended goal of promoting participation among disadvantaged groups. The party is taking its fight against the law to the Pretoria High Court tomorrow. It's seeking to have the law declared unconstitutional. While the DA opposes the entire act, this challenge specifically targets Section 15A of the legislation. This section requires companies with more than 50 employees to meet numerical targets for the representation of Black people, women, and people with disabilities.
Instead of using all the skills we've got to drive more investment and more growth, we drive our skills out of the country and we ensure that investment shrinks and more people are unemployed and fewer people can get onto the first rung of the employment ladder. That is the real situation. And if anybody has believed that the employment equity laws so far have achieved greater inclusion in the economy, which has to be the benchmark for transformation, then they just have to look at the consequences of what has happened with this legislation to reach an evidence-based conclusion. Some ideological objective may exist in somebody's head, but even if the consequences are unintended, when you see what those consequences are, you adjust your strategy. That's what rational people do. They don't double down on a strategy that has doubled the unemployment rate.
Zille claims the DA is not against affirmative action or transformative policies. President Cyril Ramaphosa has defended the Employment Equity Act, saying it prohibits unfair discrimination and also corrects past inequalities. Justice Minister Mamoloko Kubai says lifestyle audits are currently underway in her department as part of efforts to root out corruption. It's been a pledge President Cyril Ramaphosa has made since the start of his presidency in 2018, but has not been followed through across the civil service. Addressing the 15th Commonwealth Regional Conference for Heads of Anti-Corruption Agencies in Africa today, Kubai said the methods of preventing and combating corruption should be infused with modern technology tools such as artificial intelligence.
Because through this, we will be able to detect those who are living above their means as a way of starting to understand that as a public servant who are serving, if they live amongst their means, we will be able to follow the money, but also follow the behavior. And that's why, for this reason, we are emphasizing that the need for us to change the way we investigate is important and cannot be emphasized more.
Head of the Special Investigating Unit, Andy Motibi, says lifestyle audits are key to nipping corruption in the bud, providing upfront indicators of where graft may be taking place.
We would like to know if you live above your means, how is it that you afford that, and we follow the sources, of the money. So as part of the prevention framework, we are going to be implementing several measures, and we'll be speaking about those during the 5 days of the conference.
Motibi has also warned of the deadly nature of investigating corruption in South Africa, saying it's becoming an increasing trend. He says threats against SIU investigators have been growing, evidenced by its investigations into the National Lottery and Fort Hare University. Feces flow through some hostels in Alexandra. 2 hostels, which accommodate men, and the Helen Joseph Hostel for women, have failing sewage systems. The city says that Alexandra is also overly populated, which adds pressure to its infrastructure.
We are at the Madala Hostel in Alexandra, north of Johannesburg. This is one of the oldest hostels in Johannesburg. Initially, it was built for men only. However, women and children have come to live with the men in the hostel. Currently, where we are standing, it has become a dumping site for residents. You can see some broken pipes and water is leaking everywhere. Eyewitness News spoke to some residents who live here.
sibekezele singazi ukuthi ngoba besilo siyasikhala sithi asilekelelwe kodwa izikhalo zethu zingabuyi futhi ukuzothi besisize ngoba nokuthi kuklinwe la ngithi qalwe nje kulezi insukwanyana ukuthi mhlambe kube khona nabo ukuthi bethu ukuklina nakhona kapheli kusafuneka ukuthi kusetshenzwe lokho ngokungcola impela kungcolile ngoba nangale ngemuva lapha akukho right impela nje njoba kuGaza nje kunamanzi udaka yonke into siphila kanzima la ema-hostel siyacela lokho ukuthi uhulumeni akangenelela ukuthi ama-hostel impela ekhandeke ebe kubonakala kunabantu ngoba abantu laba esibaphethe nakuthiwa bayovota bayaya beyovotela ohulumeni akukho lapha basala khona kodwa uhulumeni mayiselapha phezulu kulabantu laba abaphansi abasabuyi manje ukuzobasiza futhi ukuthi bezobasiza bebanake ukuthi bahleli kanjani.
Ingqinamba esibhekana nayo thina sabantu besifazane ukuthi-kena asikwazi ukuhlala kahle ney'ngane endaweni engekho clean. Because yabo uma uphuma vele akukho right la ngaphandle kunanama-disease amaningi njengoba kungcolile. So singabantu besifazane asikwazi ukushare ngoba kushare nanama-toilet. Thola ukuthi kungena umuntu wesilisa akangaphatha kahle i-toilet so asikwazi kuyangcola kakhulu. Besingathanda ukuthi thina asiqalele phansi mhlawumbe i-hostel eyakhe futhi ibe yisimanje ngoba isakhiwo sakhona isakudala and akuhlale phansi kwakhona ney'ndawo ezasha ey'ngalungiswanga ezimoshakele.
Residents here are calling for the Department of Human Settlements to stop repairing broken infrastructure and rather replace and upgrade it. Jabulile Mbatha, Eyewitness News, Alex.
The Judicial Conduct Tribunal investigating sexual harassment allegations against Eastern Cape Judge President Selby Mbenenge is hearing from the first expert witness in the probe into the conduct of the senior judge. Francois Moller is an expert who was handed the phones of both parties, the complainant in the matter, Andiswa Mengo, and the respondent, Judge Mbenenge.
Now, what was quite interesting is that there are disputed text messages and disputed material that the Judge President said he did not send to the complainant. However, what the data analyst, Mr. Francois Muller, was able to extract is that there were deleted messages between the two parties. Both of them had deleted messages. Of course, he did mention that some of the evidence that was, or some of the deleted content from the Judge President did not relate to this specific matter. In Mengo's device, it was found that there were some exchanges between the two parties. But what is interesting is that they zoomed into the 20th of June 2021, where there is a disputed message or image that is said to have resonated or been sent by the Judge President to Ms. Andiswa Mengo, in which he essentially revealed or allegedly exposed his manhood to her. What was in dispute before the tribunal today was that image sent. Was it received by Ms. Mengo? But what does the evidence say? Well, Muller says that he was not able to find that image that was around 9 a.m. on the 20th of June 2021. And he is unable to identify whether such an image was essentially sent or whether it was deleted. And that is what the tribunal will be grappling with as well. So today is the conclusion of day one. Hearings have been adjourned until tomorrow at 9:30 a.m. And we expect that we will be hearing further testimony from other experts and witnesses. Zoleka Kotashe, Eyewitness News, Sandton in Johannesburg.
Former Free State Premier Ace Magashule's ex-PA, Morwadi Cholota, has tested the Free State High Court's jurisdiction to try her. Court granted Cholota's special plea on the matter more than a week ago. She says the court has no jurisdiction to hold her criminally liable in the fraud and corruption case, claiming her Hollywood-style extradition from the US was unlawful. The asbestos corruption case resumed this morning. The European Union says it's concerned over Israel's Gaza plan and has called for restraint from Israel after the country's security cabinet approved the expansion of military operations in Gaza. Israel's far-right finance minister has said the approved plan to expand the Gaza offensive includes capturing the enclave, quote, once and for all. US President Donald Trump is ordering new 100% tariffs on all films made outside the United States, claiming Hollywood was being, quote, devastated by a trend of US filmmakers and studios working abroad. Trump's post comes after China said last month it would reduce the number of US films it imported. Remember Skype and the impact it had when it launched 22 years ago, connecting people across the globe with free voice and video calls? Well, it's shutting down today, beaten by WhatsApp, Zoom, and Teams. Microsoft has urged users to transition to Teams. And that's it from us. Don't forget to download the EWN app, and see you for more tomorrow.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent.